All right, on tonight's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our generative AI course, and we're putting the final touches on our text-to-SQL model. Let's have a look at what we went over tonight. Now, when I say final touches, the model is basically done. It's just putting the fixings and the trimmings and everything around it. So let's pick up where we left off tonight because we actually did one more last step before we moved on. So let's see exactly what's going on there. So, the last thing we did last night was actually make our database. Excuse me, and then we made a modification to our database. So let's what did we pick up from here? Sorry about that, I should have had this queued up and ready. Okay, so the last thing we will do is create a name field. The name field, this is supposed to be new, sorry about that. So the last thing we want to do is create a new field in our student table. We will name this new field scores. This is how we will do that. And let me actually fix this right here because I did have an issue with it all night. So let me fix that to make sure that is case true. And I'll explain that to you in a second while I'm stressing that right there. So you can see here we created scores, and from the jump you can see that scores is different. You can see here that all of these have 25, 25. Just letting us know the range of characters that our field can take. This one has int here, letting it know that it's only going to be integers or numbers. So you can see here it doesn't have any quotations as the rest of these strings do, because all of these are string characters. This is an integer, that's why it doesn't need quotes. So that's why you see scores int here without the 25 behind it, because we're doing integers and not strings. So that's why it looks different there. But yeah, again, this is our updated table. You can see here we added scores, and we added scores int to let them know that this is the name of the field, and those are the scores for every student. So if we want to compare the modified version to the original version, we can see lines 108 through 130. Let's do that really quickly. So we're going to see here, we go up to 108, and you can see here. So this is how it looked without the new table or the new section or the new field. Sorry about that. The new field called scores. That's the original, and you can see here. This is how it looked without the actual scores added to our table. So basically, that's what we did. We added our field, named it, and then we added the elements to that field. You can see right here, and everybody's 100 in this table. So yeah, that's what you can see. And basically, we're gonna go ahead and go and run that and see what we're doing tonight. Also, before we run that, let me give you a quick update on yesterday when I spoke a bit too soon with the name, the way they came out. Well, let me run it for you first and then show you exactly what's going on. So let's do this. Let's do this first. Before we even do that, to update this database, we have to actually delete our old database so you can see our database is missing. And before we can actually access it in Streamlit, we have to actually run it again. So before we can actually access the new database, we have to delete the old database. And before we can access the new database in Streamlit, we have to actually run the SQL.py file, not the Streamlit, but the SQL.py file. So we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna run it. That's the automatic run, and you'll see. It's taking kind of long, but you can see our new table is created. You can see our new database is popped up, so we do have access to it now. So now we can get and query it. We're gonna do that now. It's still query it the same way. So that's the only new step that we have to do. When we create a new or we make modifications to your database, you have to delete the old one. And then before you can run the new one or query the new one, you have to actually compile it so it's saved and created as a new database, and then you can move on from there. So everything's running still smoothly as you can see. All we did was add our new field, and we added the elements to our new field, deleted our old database, compiled our code, saved our new database, and now we're querying it now as soon as everything gets booted up. Okay, so here we are. Let's get in our passive query. So we'll say, what scores did Ryan have? Let's see if it comes back. Let's see what comes back. I clicked the button. I believe I clicked the button. No, I did. I thought I did at first, but I didn't. So now I click the button. As you can see, it is still holding up. Everything is still running true. Let's see if it actually queries it. And the response is 100. Bam. So we did make the successful query. Now, two things with this. First, you can see scores is spelled like this because it has to be, because that's the actual name of our field. I tried spelling it scores in lowercase. It brought back a response, but it wasn't an accurate response. It brought back everything in the entire row instead of just the scores that I wanted. So you have to actually specify the exact name of the field that you're trying to query. Even if you spell it right, it has to be case sensitive also. Also, as you can see, our brackets and comma are back. The reason that I was able to actually get that removed, I can remove this now. Everything's working fine. Everything is good. The project is done. Everything is done. So that's good. We can close that out for now. Now let me get back to what I was saying to you. Now the reason that let me get and show you over here in the code. The reason that the brackets are back with the comma is because yesterday I hard coded the name. So instead of select all from student, I had actually had select name from student, and that's why I brought back Aaliyah without the actual brackets and the comma there, because it was bringing back an actual element from this field name. So I hard coded it. So that's why I brought it back like that. But if I did it like that, I wouldn't be able to access any other element inside our table because we're only saying select name from student. So whatever, regardless of what we queried our model about, it's always going to refer back to the name. So you have to select all from student, and that, it still works fine. But as you can see, that just leaves us with the brackets and the comma, which is no big deal at all because our model is working just the way it should be. But again, everything is done. We're just following up with the bells and whistles and making sure everything's working smoothly the way it is. So yeah, this one is a wrap. We're gonna get ahead and finish it on up and keep moving forward. But of course, I will keep you posted every step of the way. For now, this is the Python Poppy. You guys stay Gucci.